What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Dustin Poirier was a recent guest on Ariel Helwani's show and addressed his relationship with Conor. During the conversation, Dustin was asked whether things were finally good between them after Conor publicly congratulated him on the birth of his son. Some fans viewed the message as a possible sign of peace. Dustin's response, however, was quick and crystal clear. He shut down the idea immediately and made it known that there is still no goodwill between them. Despite the congratulatory post, Dustin made it clear that nothing has changed. His reaction left no room for interpretation, showing that whatever issues exist between him and Conor are far from resolved. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, the focus has shifted to what's next for Plessis following his loss to Khamzat. According to his coach, the plan is for Plessis to return to action in April. The team is targeting a 3-round fight with either Brendan Allen or Nasruddin Imavov as the potential opponent. His coach explained that April makes the most sense, and both matchups are already being discussed. He also had strong words for Allen, saying that a 3-round fight against Plessis would be a serious problem for him. The belief is that Allen doesn't fully understand the danger he would be facing. Plessis hasn't competed in a 3-round fight in years, and the team feels that format would strongly favor him. Moving on to another news, Sean O'Malley is still chasing his dream of becoming the biggest star in the UFC, even after a difficult stretch over the past year. O'Malley's rise to superstardom hit some serious roadblocks, most notably through his matchups with Merab, which slowed the momentum he once had. Still, the former bantamweight champion hasn't lost sight of his ultimate goal. At the start of 2024, there was heavy discussion about just how big of a star O'Malley had become. Many believed he was right on the edge of being the biggest name in MMA, and some even argued he had already reached that level. His unique style, confidence, and charisma made him one of the most talked about fighters in the sport. However, back-to-back losses to Merab caused a noticeable dip in his stock and shifted the narrative around his career. During the countdown show for UFC 324, where O'Malley is set to face Song Yadong, he opened up about his ambitions and where he feels he stands. O'Malley admitted that while he wanted to be the biggest UFC star at one point, he never truly reached that #1 spot. He explained that he was always close, usually ranked among the top 2 or 3 biggest names, but never the very top. Despite that, O'Malley said he still believes he has the potential to get there. In his mind, that path starts with beating Song. He shared that he can still see the version of himself he always wanted to become and feels that dream isn't dead yet. O'Malley emphasized that he remains hungry and motivated with a strong desire to eventually become the biggest draw in the sport. That goal isn't unrealistic. O'Malley already has a massive fan base, global recognition, and he's still in his prime at just 31 years old. However, the challenge ahead is significant. The talent level at 135 pounds is stacked, and the competition at 145 pounds only adds to the difficulty of staying relevant at the top. As fight week approaches, O'Malley appears focused and confident. He recently shared a message letting fans know he's ready to put on a show and is excited for the moment. For O'Malley, this fight isn't just about winning. It's about reclaiming momentum and proving that his dream of becoming the UFC's biggest star is still very much alive. Moving on to another news, the MMA community is raising concerns about Paddy Pimblett ahead of UFC 324. Just days before his highly anticipated clash with Gaethje, a new clip surfaced online during a video for Tom Aspinall's YouTube channel showing Paddy vaping. The footage immediately sparked discussion among fans, who worried about how it might impact his cardio in the cage. While some pointed out that fighters like Carlos Prates smoke and perform just fine, others were far less forgiving. Many fans called out Paddy, predicting that his gas tank could be a major issue if he doesn't finish Gaethje in the early rounds. Comments ranged from concerns about him getting smashed by top fighters like Dustin, Arman, or Ilya, to criticisms of his diet and lifestyle when not in fight camp. Several noted that vaping and unhealthy habits could take a toll on Paddy later in his career. Some even highlighted that seeing him vape mid-training camp for a title fight was absolutely wild and expressed disappointment, expecting more discipline from the fighter at this level. However, not everyone was concerned. Some fans argued that vaping might actually help Paddy, particularly with focus and managing nervousness during fight week. Nicotine, they said, can enhance concentration and performance, and even world champion boxers use similar methods. Supporters noted that Carlos Prates, for example, has never shown any negative impact from smoking, emphasizing that Paddy is a grown man capable of making his own decisions. Despite these defenses, the conversation underscores the scrutiny that comes with being a high-profile fighter. Fans and commentators alike remain watchful, especially given that this is Paddy's first title fight. While some see vaping as a harmless personal choice, the community is keeping a close eye on how it might affect his endurance and performance inside the octagon. Ultimately, it's a reminder that every decision, on or off the mat, can become a talking point in the high-stakes world of MMA. Moving on to another news, Jorge Masvidal continues to tease a potential showdown with Conor at the UFC White House card. Just days ago, Masvidal reignited the long-running rumors by hinting that real talks have taken place regarding a fight with the former champion. Now, the former welterweight contender claims things are finally moving in a positive direction, and the matchup may be closer than ever to becoming reality. Back when Masvidal was deep in the title picture at 170, discussions about a fight with Conor surfaced multiple times, but never materialized. Years later, with both fighters chasing a spot on the UFC's upcoming White House event, the conversation has picked up again. Masvidal says his management is actively pushing for the fight and that there is genuine interest on the UFC's side. While speaking with Ariel Helwani, Masvidal shared some insight into what's happening behind the scenes. He explained that his manager Ali has been working relentlessly, getting directly in front of key decision makers. Masvidal said Ali has been putting in the work face-to-face, staying close to Hunter and Dana, and making sure the fight stays on their radar. According to Masvidal, things aren't looking bad at all right now. He added that while he can't reveal too much, dialogue has clearly been opened and communication is ongoing. From his perspective, the talks are real and the possibility of the fight happening is very much alive. Of course, there's always the chance that this is partly about building hype, but even so, the level of interest surrounding the matchup is undeniable. Masvidal later doubled down during an interview with Death Row MMA, where he spoke confidently about how he matches up against Conor. He questioned who else would even make sense as an opponent if Michael Chandler is out of the picture. Masvidal claimed the reason the fight might not happen is because he's a bad style matchup for Conor. He said he's bigger, faster, and has superior hand speed, making it a dangerous fight for Conor stylistically. Masvidal also pointed out that he does well against southpaws and believes he would dominate the exchanges. In his words, it wouldn't be a smart move for Conor, and that's exactly why the UFC might hesitate. Masvidal went on to say the promotion may prefer to give Conor someone he can beat, and he doesn't see himself fitting that role. Still, Masvidal emphasized the business side, claiming the fight would shatter Paramount's viewership records. He confidently stated that putting the matchup together would crash streaming platforms and bring massive attention to the UFC, regardless of where both fighters are in their careers. Moving on to another news, Justin Gaethje recently opened up about what he considers the biggest mistake of his career, offering a rare glimpse into his mindset. Long regarded as one of the world's top lightweights, Gaethje's record is filled with memorable wins, but he says one fight in particular stands out as a major turning point. Speaking to ESPN MMA, ahead of his upcoming showdown with Paddy Pimblett at UFC 324, Gaethje reflected on his April 2024 battle with Max Holloway, where he was brutally knocked out with just 1 second remaining. Gaethje admitted that his biggest mistake was approaching the fight with the wrong mindset. He said he treated it too much like a fun fight and didn't fully recognize the danger he was in. According to Gaethje, he failed to tap into his primal competitive instincts and paid the price. He recalled being struck by Holloway's intensity, noting that he had never seen an opponent's face like that before. The former BMF champ emphasized that mistakes in preparation and mental approach contributed heavily to the outcome. Gaethje explained that the experience motivated him, fueling his desire for a rematch with Holloway to prove he has learned from that error. Looking ahead to UFC 324, Gaethje is taking his fight against Paddy very seriously. He outlined a strategy focused on endurance and aggression, aiming to push Pimblett into the 4th or 5th round where he believes he can inflict significant damage. Gaethje said he has been mentally preparing by imagining the toughest possible scenarios, pushing himself into a primal mindset where he feels he becomes one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. He confirmed that his preparation has been thorough and deliberate, leaving nothing to chance. Although Gaethje and Pimblett haven't engaged in much trash talk leading up to the fight, Gaethje's comments show he is fully dialed in. Interestingly, while betting lines favor Pimblett, Dustin Poirier has thrown his support behind Gaethje, predicting that he will win the fight by knockout. With a clear focus, refined strategy, and a desire to correct past mistakes, Gaethje is entering this fight determined to make a statement and reclaim his position among the elite lightweights. Moving on to another news. Arman has shared an ambitious idea that would completely change how champions are decided in the UFC. He suggested running an 8-fighter Grand Prix, where fighters would compete over a 6-week period. According to Arman, this format would guarantee a champion by the end, no matter what happens along the way, even if injuries occur during the tournament. Arman believes a Grand Prix would remove any debate about rankings, favoritism, or matchmaking politics. Every fighter would have the same path, and the winner would earn the title by beating multiple opponents in a short time. However, it's important to note that a concept like this would be extremely difficult to approve. Athletic commissions have strict rules regarding medical suspensions, recovery time, and clearance requirements, which would make such a tournament very hard to implement. Moving on to another news, Plessis has shared his honest thoughts following the fight, and he didn't hold back. After the interview aired, Plessis spoke again with the same outlet and explained how he viewed the matchup. He gave credit where it was due, saying Khamzat did exactly what he needed to do to win. However, Plessis made it clear that, in his opinion, the fight was boring and did not live up to the massive hype surrounding it. Plessis said that while he respects the result, it wasn't the kind of fight he wanted. He explained that it wasn't exciting to watch and admitted that he even felt bored during parts of the fight himself. Despite that, he acknowledged that Khamzat executed his game plan perfectly and did what was required to secure the belt. According to Plessis, if that's the route someone chooses to take to win, then fair play to them. He went on to say that Khamzat intentionally avoided turning it into a real fight. Plessis believes Khamzat knew exactly what would happen if they truly engaged and exchanged, and that's why he chose a safer, more controlled approach. He explained that Khamzat stayed out of danger at all times, neutralized his offense, and prevented the fight from becoming chaotic or entertaining. Plessis admitted that it was frustrating, especially knowing how different the fight could have been if it opened up. He said that Khamzat was smart and calculated, making sure the fight stayed exactly where he wanted it. While that approach led to a win, Plessis feels it also stripped the fight of excitement. Despite the disappointment, Plessis said the experience will only make him better. He described the fight as a speed bump in his journey and explained that it exposed a specific part of his game that needs improvement. Plessis promised that in his next performance, fans will see a much sharper version of him, one that has mastered those missing pieces and learned from this moment. Moving on to another news. Arman is once again taking aim at Paddy Pimblett, and at this point, it feels like an everyday occurrence. Arman has never been shy about sharing his thoughts on Paddy, and during a recent appearance on the One Night with Steiny podcast, he made it clear that his opinion hasn't changed at all. While discussing the upcoming fight between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, Arman openly said he hopes Gaethje wins, but he doesn't believe it will be by knockout. According to Arman, Gaethje simply doesn't knock Paddy out. In his view, the only realistic path to victory for Gaethje is a decision, and if that doesn't happen, then Paddy likely ends up winning the fight. Arman doubled down on the idea that the matchup heavily favors Paddy from the UFC's perspective. He claimed the promotion clearly wants Paddy to win, suggesting that's exactly why Arman was never matched up against him in the first place. Arman went even further by saying that the UFC knows Paddy would lose badly if they fought. He implied that if someone were to ask Dana White directly who would win in a fight between Arman and Paddy Pimblett, and Dana answered Paddy, it would be hard to take seriously. Arman made it sound like the outcome would be obvious and not in Paddy's favor. After the interview went live, Arman didn't stop there. He took another shot at Paddy on social media, criticizing him for what he sees as a lack of effort in promoting the fight. Arman claimed that while it's fight week for Paddy, he's the one doing all the work. According to Arman, he's been carrying the promotional load by giving interviews, appearing on podcasts, doing live streams, and constantly keeping the spotlight on the matchup. He mocked Paddy by calling him Chubby Paddy and suggested he needs to wake up, get to work, and start pulling his weight. Arman finished by saying that the situation isn't a good look for the UFC at all, especially when one fighter is doing all the talking while the other stays quiet. Moving on to another news, Joe Pyfer has made a bold prediction about the future of Israel Adesanya ahead of their upcoming fight. Adesanya is preparing to prove that he is still a major force in the UFC's middleweight division when he steps into the cage against Pyfer on March 28th. However, the heavy-handed rising contender believes this fight could potentially be the final chapter of Adesanya's legendary career. Adesanya is set to headline the UFC UFC's next card in Seattle, marking his first appearance since his loss to Nassourdine Imavov earlier this year. With plenty on the line, Pyfer recently spoke in detail about the matchup during an episode of the Brady Baggs Show. While discussing how the fight came together and what it represents for both men, Pyfer shared what he heard during the negotiation process. According to Pyfer, Adesanya viewed this fight as a proving ground. Pyfer said that Adesanya believes beating a young, powerful fighter like him would show that he still belongs among the elite and can compete with the very best. Pyfer acknowledged that perspective, saying it makes sense given his size, strength, and knockout power. If Adesanya is able to dominate him and look like his old self, Pyfer believes it could spark another serious title run. However, Pyfer also explained the other side of that thinking. He said that if he beats Adesanya, it would feel like passing the torch to the next generation. Pyfer stated that if Adesanya loses this fight, he genuinely believes retirement could follow. In his view, there may not be a more fitting opponent to hand things over to if that moment comes. Pyfer also pushed back on some of the criticisms surrounding Adesanya. He said the MMA community has been overly harsh, pointing to Adesanya's age and recent losses as reasons people are writing him off too quickly. Pyfer reminded fans that Adesanya is only 36 and had a very competitive fight with Plessis, a performance that showed he can still operate at a high level. Even Adesanya's biggest supporters would likely admit the situation is serious. He enters this fight on a 3-fight losing streak and will turn 37 later this year. Financially, Adesanya appears more than secure, which only fuels speculation about retirement. Adding to the intrigue, Adesanya currently sits as a slight underdog on the betting lines, with odds hovering around plus 110, making this one of the most fascinating fights of his career. Moving on to another news. Arman has made it clear that he is not happy with how the UFC is currently being run. Speaking openly, Arman explained that he believes fighters should be rewarded for skill, rankings, and performances, not for how many followers they have on social media. In his view, if a fighter deserves a title shot, then that fighter should get it, regardless of popularity or online attention. Arman said that if someone is ranked and keeps winning fights, the path should be simple. That fighter should be next in line for big opportunities, including title fights. He stressed that decisions should not be made purely for business reasons, even though he understands why the UFC sometimes operates that way. Arman admitted that if he were in the UFC's position, he might even make similar choices, because at the end of the day, the promotion is focused on making money. Still, Arman questioned what is really happening behind the scenes. He pointed out that the UFC recently signed a new contract with Paramount and suggested that this may be influencing how fights are being booked and promoted. While he did not go into full detail, Arman's comments made it clear that he feels merit should come before marketing, and that the current system does not always reflect that.